So before coming to Brazil, I always thought the cost of living here would be much cheaper. I even thought like maybe my monthly expense can be cut like half. But now I've been here roughly around 3 months, and what I realized is here is not that cheap, baby. And I think I spend more than what I spend in Taipei. So as a responsible adult, I document all my expense from last month. I want to know how much money I spend on food, on transportation, or things I bought, where is my money? And also for people who want to come to Brazil for a living, to have an idea how much roughly you would spend, you would need to prepare before you come to Brazil. So I'm gonna share all my expense into different categories. At the end of the video, we will know the monthly expense in Brazil from my personal expense, and also where I spend the most money on. So let's go. So now it's February, so I'm gonna share my expense in January. First one, also the biggest expense here is traveling. March, I'm planning to go to Argentina, and I bought my ticket and also the visa fee in January, so that's gonna add up the expense for this month quite a lot. Does that count my monthly expense? Anyway, so for the Argentinian visa, it's around $200. Also another US visa which you would need before applying for Argentinian visa is the US visa, which is $20, and the flight ticket to Argentina from Brazil is $547. So that's already $700 on traveling. The next one is the house. Right now I'm living with Torden's family, but we still pay a little bit of rent to cover the electricity, the water, and also the rent. So we give around $150, which is not a lot. Definitely save up a lot of money. So every month I will have these $150. The third one, which I believe gonna be one of the biggest expense that I have monthly, is the food. So the food I separate two parts. One is the supermarket, and another one is the eat out, which is the eating restaurant, have some snack, drink, everything. So I will separate these two. So for the supermarket in January, I spent only $100, and I think another main reason is because Jordan's family will buy. Sometimes we will cover, but sometimes we don't. That also saves us some money. Now there we go. So in January, I spent almost $200. So when we go to the city, or when we don't want to eat at home, we go outside. We also like a lot having some snack, or cup of drink, cup of coffee, orange juice. We love it, or coconut water. So that all's part of this eating out expense, which is around $200. And also acai. Every week we order acai, around 20 reais, which is how much? $4. We don't really eat out a lot, but we still spend $200. In January, there's one particular big expense on the restaurant, which is the beginning of the January. We have a wedding, and the wedding is different from Taiwan. You have to pay yourself for the meal. So on that day, we spend 200 reais, which is around $40 on the meal. One of the biggest expense that we had. For two people actually. So that's for the food, grocery shopping plus the eating out. How much is it? So that's in total around $300. It's more than what I spent in Taipei. Also in January, I bought some clothes, some daily stuff for living, because here in this house we don't have many how do you call it? Like a kitchenware. So I still need to buy or some carpets, toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, all these I would need to buy. So that's also the expense for last month. Not a lot though, like 30 US dollars. Entertainment. So in January we went to try the banana boat. It's really fun, but unfortunately that day the wave wasn't big. It was pretty chill. So that's 40 reais, which is 8 US dollars. Next one, the transportation. Here we don't really take the public transportation. We have the scooter, we have the car, so our expense will go for the gas. So last month we spent 60 US dollars on the gas, and that's it. And there's still some little expense, but I don't think that's really regular, and I kind of mix, so I'm gonna just skip that little detail and tell you the total expense for January, which is 1,300 for the total month. I know it doesn't sound a lot for people who live in Taipei and renting their own room, but because I have the traveling expense, so that's add out a lot of my monthly expense. Usually it's not that much, but if I minus the traveling expense and also a lot of food, that's combined me and Jordan. So if I cut it half, then so per person it's gonna be around 500 US dollars for monthly, which is around 1,500 NT dollars. Another thing to note is the minimum salary here is really low. So if you eat out, it's gonna cost around 30 to 50 reais, which is relatively high for the local. That's why I think the cost of living for Brazil is not really cheap. Many people probably cannot afford to eat out. Plus the inflation, you know, the gas, the food. I think it's quite hard. How are they gonna survive if they only earn 1,000 or 2,000 reais when all the prices going up? So looking back, all my expense, my highest expense is traveling and the food. But frankly, I think I already save a lot. We eat at home and cook ourselves quite often. So I think these expenses are quite okay, I guess. So this is the video for the monthly expense in Brazil, and I hope you like it and give you more insight how much money we spend in Brazil as a foreigner, as a Taiwanese. Let me know in the comment what you think and what's your expectation. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Boss.